Are your moods swinging, sleep disappearing, and your cycles shifting so fast you don't know what's going on? You're wondering, what is happening with my body? You could be in perimenopause. And if so, you're definitely not alone. You're definitely not crazy. You're not making this up. It is puberty in reverse, as we call it, and it can start as early as your late 30s and bring a whole wave of changes. But there are also real natural solutions and help that you can get to balance your hormones. So in today's video, I'll walk you through the stages of perimenopause, what's happening with your hormones, and what you can do to naturally balance your hormones, all from a natural and functional medicine perspective, and help you feel like yourself again. I'm Dr. Shelley Meyer, and welcome to my channel. I'm a board-certified family medicine and functional medicine physician and women's hormone expert, as well as a nutritionist. So let's make this transition a little bit smoother and talk about these mystery symptoms, these stages, and help you empower your way through this. So by the end of this video, you'll understand the 2 key stages of perimenopause, what symptoms to expect from those stages, learn why estrogen dominance happens, what it means, and what it can do to your body, and discover the best natural and functional tools to help you support your body through perimenopause and menopause and beyond. That's what I talk about all on my channel and in my blog too, perimenopause.health. So I'm going to include my favorite supplements, foods, and lifestyle strategies and changes. Whether your symptoms are mild, intense, whatever they are, this video will help you tune into those signals, figure out where you are, and help you feel more balanced and supported and in control. So let's start out with what is perimenopause. Perimenopause is that transition leading up to menopause. It's not a quick flip of a switch. It can happen, it can shift over 4 to 8 years or even more. That's the average, but it can be even longer. So like I said, it can start in the late 30s. Think of it as your body's way of winding down reproductive function, but it doesn't do so quietly. Your body kind of fights it. So hormones fluctuate unpredictably, and that creates everything from irregular cycles to hot flashes, waking, brain fog, emotional ups and downs. And that's just naming a few. I have like I have a bunch of videos and blogs on my, like I said, perimenopause.health, or on this channel. The blog is perimenopause.health. And one of them, the videos and the blogs, is called The 34 Symptoms of Perimenopause. So it just shows you each woman's experience is unique and can be challenging. Let's break down the 2 main stages of what we're here to talk about today. Stage 1, early perimenopause. In earlier perimenopause, your ovulation starts to slow down. This causes your progesterone, which is your calming, your sleep-supporting, comforting hormone, to decline first, and that does gradually decline throughout perimenopause. But what happens to estrogen? It doesn't drop in a straight line like that. It can spike and dip and roller coaster all over the place, and that's how you can end up with estrogen dominance. Not necessarily because the estrogen is so high all the time, but because it can be high and the progesterone's going down, so that difference is high sometimes. So what can the signs of estrogen dominance be? Well, those could be shorter cycles, heavier or more painful periods, breast tenderness, anxiety, bloating, PMS, and even sleep issues like that 3 to 4 a.m. wake up. Estrogen dominance can also stimulate the endometrial lining, the uterine lining, which can increase your risks for fibroids or heavy bleeding. I have some videos on that are very popular, so check those out if you're having it. Any of this is hitting home for you, leave me a comment so we can all share together in the community what we're experiencing, or even just a thumbs up letting us know that you're experiencing it too. It helps us in the community, the women that are watching, feel less alone. So let's talk about stage 2, which is later perimenopause. In later perimenopause, which often starts into your usually late 40s to mid 50s, that ovulation becomes more rare, or it can stop altogether. Now, both estrogen and progesterone are declining in this stage, and estrogen, though, it still could surge at times. So this phase often brings the more drawn-out missed or irregular periods, those hot flashes we talk about, night sweats that can keep us up, vaginal dryness, brain fog, sleep issues, joint pain, low libido. And that drop in estrogen affects everything from your temperature to mood regulation, the way you think, and your joint health. So there's a lot of different things that can be going on in the later stages, and sometimes those stages can overlap. So let's talk about the length and the timing and how perimenopause kind of works. It's not a predictable thing, by the way. So it varies. Some women experience it for just a year or two. Others, it could be nearly a decade long. And what can influence that, and why? So genetics, when you started puberty, can influence it. Smoking and your exposure to toxins can influence it. Nutrient deficiencies and stress levels can influence your perimenopause experience. Blood sugar stability, if your blood sugar's all over the place, or extra fat accumulation, your cortisol's all over the place, that can influence it. I have videos on that too. And then women with chronic stress, poor sleep, those can all influence it. Like I said, the adrenal function. Diet and a diet high in sugar, not enough nutrients, that can influence your perimenopause experience. So let's talk about the common symptoms. So every woman's journey is different, like I said, but I'm going to sum up some of those things I said above, kind of put them in a list here of the common symptoms of perimenopause. So like I said, you can have irregular or heavy periods. That can be in the first or second stage. Hot flashes and night sweats are more common in the second stage, but you can have windows of them in the first. Fatigue, brain fog, and memory issues get a little bit worse in the later stages. Mood swings, anxiety, depression, those can be pretty strong in both stages, more so the first sometimes. Low libido and vaginal dryness, usually more so the second. Sleep disturbances and joint stiffness, could be in both stages. Urinary urgency and breast tenderness, that happens along the whole way. Or midsection weight gain can be more prominent in the first stage. Some women will breeze through, and then women will feel like they're hit by a truck. So it's just different for everyone, and it's just good to have this knowledge and to seek out this information so you kind of can figure out your journey. So let's talk about what's happening hormone-wise. So just to review, estrogen doesn't fall steadily. It spikes and it crashes, which can then trigger some of those symptoms above. It could also trigger some migraines, bloating, mood changes, and unpredictable symptoms. Progesterone, that steady decline that happens, that can lead us to poor sleep. Sometimes it makes those night sweats worse, anxiety, PMS, and trouble calming down at night. When you put these together, that can affect your nervous system and contribute to anxiety, insomnia, can contribute to your metabolism, your blood sugar swings and weight gain, your brain function, your memory, brain fog, mood changes, joints, and like you can lose collagen, so that's where you can get some of that joint pain. So hormone testing during this time can be helpful, but keep in mind that your levels are still fluctuating. I cover this a lot on my blog and my video on the channel here. But hormone testing, I'll put some links in the description of some resources for that, but that can be helpful, but don't rely on it completely because it can vary. So let's talk about natural support for your hormones. So let's try to keep the blood sugar balanced. That'll help your experience be smoother. Choosing fiber-rich carbs, 1 gram of fiber for every 10 grams of carbs on the label if you have a label. Healthy fats, lean proteins, avoiding sugary foods. These can all make estrogen dominance worse, the sugary foods and the processed carbs. Manage your stress. So long-term stress equals high cortisol equals lower progesterone, a worse perimenopause experience. So try like breath work, yoga, the meditations I always talk about. Gentler movement and exercise is important too. So speaking of that, let's prioritize strength training, shorter, more enjoyable workouts, yoga, Pilates, walking, cycling, swimming, but nothing crazy marathons or crazy HIIT training. That can be a little more difficult on your system. Support your sleep. You could use magnesium, ashwagandha. There's herbal blends, like I'll put some in the link description. Gaia has a good one. Pure Encapsulation says cortisol manager. Integrative Therapeutics has a good targeted perimenopause PM supplement. Estrogen, I did a whole review on them. So something like that can be helpful, but even just using an herbal tea can help. Reducing screens at night can help, that can help protect your melatonin levels. Using amber glasses like I've talked about, and blue blockers on the screens, and sticking to a bedtime schedule. Also, you want to limit your alcohol and your caffeine. So let's also support your liver detox. So cruciferous veggies, seed cycling, gentle liver support like milk thistle, lots of fiber, 35 grams of fiber, calcium D glucarate, it's another supplement that can be helpful. That can help get the toxic estrogen out and help have a better experience. So those are some supplements I mentioned above. Here's some other ones that can be really helpful. Vitex, that promotes healthy progesterone and a healthy cycle. If you're having irregular cycles, that could be helpful. DIM, if you're having estrogen dominance symptoms and have been tested for estrogen dominance, DIM can be really helpful. I really like DIM Detox, or I mentioned I have a video on that. And then ashwagandha, like I said before, that can help regulate cortisol and sleep support. black cohosh, that is often better in the second stage when your estrogen's trying to get low, but I really like FemGuard Balance, the blend for that. Rhodiola, that's another great adaptogen for mood and energy. And the magnesium, like I said, glycinate's gentler on the GI tract, that can really help relax you, help you sleep, and help support your hormone balance. Omega-3s, those are really helpful for your brain, your heart health, and it being anti-inflammatory too. So flax, chia, salmon, those things. Walnuts are rich in omega-3s, where you could take the supplements. But always talk to your doctor, because you want to make sure whatever you start taking is safe for you. Now let's talk about when to seek. Oh, one other, I mentioned Hormone Harmony by Happy Mammoth. That's really helpful for a lot of women too. So let's talk about when to seek help, or when to seek support from your provider. You may want to, if you have some of those symptoms and the other natural things aren't helping, try functional medicine testing like the Dutch test. Talk to your doctor about bioidentical hormone replacement, or some women prefer antidepressants. Those can be helpful. I don't think that should be the first place to go, but it can be a game changer for some women. But then maybe taking a deeper look into your cortisol, like with the Dutch test, with your estrogen, progesterone. It's where a functional medicine doctor, like an integrative doctor, can become helpful, but also your regular doctor could check some of your basic levels too, and check out my videos on that. So perimenopause isn't the end, it's just a transition. It can make you more empowered if you have the right knowledge. You can have a better experience. You're not broken, you're just evolving. You're stepping into that wiser, stronger version of yourself. You really are. And I'm here to walk with you on that journey. Tons of videos and blogs on this. So if you found this video helpful, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel, and share it with a friend who might be going through this similar experience, or a family member, and that can really help the community grow and help us all learn from each other. So check out the links in the descriptions for those blogs I talked about on my perimenopause.help blog, and for the hormone testing blog, the functional medicine approaches to perimenopause, the videos I have, I'll have a playlist in there. And let me know in the comments what stage you feel like you might be in perimenopause. What symptoms are you noticing? Let's hear it. Let's support each other, because that really helps to get a conversation going. And let's reclaim this time of our lives together so that we can learn from each other and feel more balanced. So thanks so much for joining me today. If you have basic questions or comments, like I said, I'd love to hear them in the comments section. I can't address your individual medical questions, but we can all learn from each other as far as symptoms and support goes. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and I will see you in the next video.